Patreon Q&A number 76. I want to thank all 123 of my superbly stupendous patrons. Guys, you know I love you, and I can't thank you enough for all of your support. And to everyone else listening, there's going to be spoilers in these questions and answers, so tread carefully. Pontiff S asks, hey, Shonen, hope all is well, my dude. I've been watching your vids for a long time and finally decided to join the overpowered army. You are doing great work, my friend, and you have a great community here. Hey, thank you, Pontiff. I really appreciate you decided to come on board. My first ever question is about the main man Blast. I had a bit of an epiphany when you went over his Italian translation of the data book. It stated that Blast had control over thousands of robots, and I always assumed that robots along the lines of Metal Knights with various unique makes and models, a construction bot here and a combat bot here, which seems a bit far-fetched, but then I thought about Nanobot as seen in the MCU with Iron Man, thousands of tiny robots at his command that could make up for a super suit, and that could also give him the ability to shoot lasers from his eyes. Just a fun little theory that could hold some merit. So let me know what your thoughts are, Z, and as always, stay frosty. YouTube Pontiff. So I'm thinking that nanobots is probably a good explanation for what's going on with him. I don't think that's the reason why he can shoot lasers. I definitely think that's coming from his Esper powers. But as for the nanobots making up his suit, that would be pretty cool. That would definitely be different. It doesn't appear that his suit is made up of nanobots, but then again, how could you really know unless it's like outwardly looks like techie and stuff like that. Now also, if we're going back to like the Superman analogies, maybe it can have something to do with like how Superman has his robots, something that a lot of people have asked me to look into. And apparently Superman in some iterations of it has like copies of himself that are robots so that they can like, you know, step in for him when he's gone or something. And maybe it could be something like that. Maybe that's how Blast was able to basically save humanity by himself before the Hero Association. Like maybe he had a whole bunch of robots out there in multiple places at once, you know, all guarding simultaneously. Maybe that has something to do with it, but then like how would he get the robots? Does he know Dr. Pufoy? Maybe Dr. Pufoy supplied him with these robots or something, but then again, we've never heard Pufoy or Meta Knight talk about Blasts, but maybe that's in the future of the story. But also another thing that we have to take into consideration with all of this robot stuff is that in the translation for the data book, in both the Italian and the original one that we got, it says that, you know, we don't know if this info is true or not. And that made me think that maybe there was some disinformation thrown in there, possibly meaning that like the whole robot thing was made to throw us off, you know, from like really figuring out what was going on with him. So maybe the Esper stuff is true, but maybe the robot stuff is false. It's a possibility, or maybe he does have the nanobots. I would like to think that he has nanobots more so than just having like combat robots. But then again, it also could go with the Superman stuff. Donie Joestar asks, sup, Shonen, my question today is, do you think Atomic Samurai could use his new Atomic Slash on Melzerguard? Yeah, I think he definitely could. I mean, he literally developed that technique because of his encounter with Melzerguard, so I think that he knows for sure that if he were to use it on Melzerguard, it would effectively work against him. Now, he would have to pinpoint it exactly where the marble would be on Melzerguard. Like if he were to just shoot him with it, it would probably, you know, really damage him. It would put a hole in him probably, and I assume that he would just have to use more of his body, like pulling from other parts of his being to recover from that. But, you know, Melzerguard ultimately came down to like you having to destroy his marble. So if he could pinpoint the marble, yeah, he would take him out for sure. It's, you know, it's different from Black S, since you would need to be pinpoint. With Black S, you can kind of just vaporize one of his clones. Geruda asks, hey, Shonen, do you think Tatsumaki remembers how powerful Blast is since she was saved by him? Maybe that's why she's so hard on the other heroes for not being strong enough to her liking. Hey, Geruda, I think that's a great point, and I think that's, you know, very likely what's going into here with Tatsumaki in the way that she is. She definitely knows how powerful Blast is. I have a theory that Blast probably trained her. I'm going to make a video on that in the future. But that's probably how she's able to do all of the Esper stuff that she knows. And it also goes back into why she said that what Psychos was doing with the eye lasers was like an elegant, nuanced usage of the power. It makes me think that Blast, you know, probably taught her how to do stuff. So she knows how, for sure, how powerful he is. And that's very likely that she's always like equating everybody to him. Therefore, they're never going to be good enough. Legandaryus asks, hey, Shonen, if Silverfang still had all of his students, would they become heroes? Would they be considered a group like the Tank Top Army? So you think a lot of them would become heroes, mainly because, you know, Silverfang is a hero. I don't think he would tell them to become a hero. I think they would just take it upon themselves to do that, you know, trying to follow in their master's footsteps. And then, yeah, I think they would for sure be referred to as a group like the Tank Top Army. They'd probably be like the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fisters. Or just Bang's disciple, something like that. But it would be cool to have like another subcategory like the Tank Top Army, but just with like Silverfang's disciples and everything. Maybe we'll see that in the future, now that Bang is retired. Mellow asks, what's up, Shonen? What do you think about One's approach currently in the webcomic where he jumps from one arc to another? It's confusing because it's like he started with the Neo Hero stuff, and it seemed like he was going to go down that route. And then once he came back from hiatus, he's kind of just put that on the back burner. Now, he did go a little bit into it in chapter 110 and 111, but now that he's gone over the flash stuff and the My Mask stuff, I'm like, where's this headed? And it's made me think that maybe he just wants to get these storylines out of the way, something that he's been working on for a while, but he just, didn't have the time to flesh them out. Maybe he just wants to get through these stories individually so that he can go further into the New Heroes arc. But also, if we go back to chapter 106, we saw the storylines that he was setting up for what's going to happen. So we still have like the Zombie Man thing to come. We still have Child Emperor is going to have some kind of arc playing out, and then Tank Top Master is going to have an arc playing out too. So I think that's what's going to happen after we're done with the My Mask. He's just going to settle those storylines that has been lingering, and then maybe that will set up the Neo Heroes arc with the big fallout of the Hero Association. My second question is, who would win in a fight between Awakened Cockroach and Lemillion? So Lemillion could probably avoid Awakened Cockroach, but also his speed is so ridiculous. He's probably way faster than most characters in My Hero. Therefore, I think he'd be able to catch Lemillion off guard and probably defeat him. He would really be pushing Lemillion's reflexes to the absolute max, which are really debatable if he can keep up with somebody that fast, who in theory is just as fast, if not faster, than Sonic. Not Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic, speed of sound Sonic. So I'd probably put my money on the Cockroach here. Meme Priest asks, hey Shonen, today I have a theory. Could Bufoy be a stand-in for Batman and is secretly created the organization to come up plans to take down the S-Class if they run on humanity? So no, I don't think this is the case. Now, before, chapter 118, 119, and all that stuff, it was definitely up for debate if Bufoy was directly connected to the organization. It was definitely a possibility. We had some kind of breadcrumbs to follow, but now that all of that light has been shed on them since, Drive-In and all that stuff, I don't think he really has anything to do with them. I think, if anything, they are actively trying to go after him. They want his tech. They want to take him down. So I think if anyone kind of created the organization, if not indirectly, it was Kuseno rather than Bufoy. But I do think that Bufoy probably has some kind of crazy tech in order to overcome the S-Class if they were to turn on humanity. We'll probably see something like that in the future, but it won't be the organization. Susan A asks, hey Shonen, what's up, buddy? I had a question. So in the audiobook, Dark Chan fought Bang and Bang won, but what would happen if Bang fought Dark Chan? What would the fight look like? I'm just going to call him Dark Chan because it sounds funny. Credit to Pretty Prisoner. Thanks, man. So that was actually mentioned in the webcomic and the manga. In the audiobook, Bang fought Metal Bat. But if we're Dark Chan were to fight Bomb, I think it would be much different because I think Bang had so much success against Darkshine because of his defensive Water Stream style, and we know that Bomb, has the offensive Whirlwind style. So I think he would definitely, be able to hurt Darkshine, relatively hurt him considering what being hurt for Darkshine is. But I think Darkshine would probably have more success against Bomb. It's difficult to say if he can win because we really haven't seen too much from Bomb, honestly. But the fact that he was taken out by Black S from a chop to the back of the neck makes me think that Darkshine probably could take him. Tempest asks, hey Shonen, I've got an interesting question for you this time, or at least I think so. Do you think that Tatsumaki and Bang could have taken on the entire Monster Association by themselves? I feel like even if things got serious, Tatsumaki and a boosted Bang could win, and I actually don't think if anyone other than Saitama could beat those two together. Have a great week and give up the above Saitama tier content. Hey, thank you, Tempest. And I do think that they could probably take most of the Monster Association by themselves. Now, them taking down Orochi, that's really debatable. Golden S too, that's hard to say, but I think they could take down the cadres because that would be a really good team, especially if Tatsumaki could boost Bang the way that Fubuki does, and I'm pretty sure that she could. He would be a whole new monster, what we saw take on Overgrown Rover. So yeah, I'll say that they could take on the cadres, most of them, if not all of them, but then when we come to like Orochi and Golden S and stuff like that, then I don't think so, but the cadres for sure. The one and only Panda Man asks, hey Shonen, I've been a fan of your videos for a while and decided to support you a little. I love the topics and theories you cover on One Punch Man and My Hero Academia. Keep making great content as long as you can. Hey, thank you, Panda Man. I really appreciate that. My question is, What involves you in the impending Monster Association bait flip? Do you think Tatsumaki will still flip the base on her own like in the webcomic, or do you think that she'll try to pull Orochi Psychos to the surface and the base will get dragged along with them? And if the latter is the case, do you think somewhat diminishes the base flip feat for her? As we saw in the last chapter, Orochi has spread himself throughout the base in order to obtain blood to regenerate himself, so he'd probably have a good hold on it. Ever since it was shown that Orochi has made dozens of serpentine appendages, I thought this is how the base flip might go down. Now, I don't think it's going to diminish her feat at all or something like that. I think it's going to happen more or less the same way. She's definitely going to pull it out by force with the intention of pulling the base out, and it's probably going to get... it's probably going to be a method to get Orochi to the surface, because I assume that maybe he's going to come back to full form, full power, and he's going to be huge down there. And then she's going to pull him to the surface along with the base. I don't think it's going to be like, any kind of diminishing feat or anything like that. Now, originally in the webcomic, it was just her showing Psychos how powerful she is, more or less. But like I said, this is going to be a way for her to get Orochi on the surface and for her to fight him, and then probably finish him up there. But I think it'd still probably be interesting if he was still like in his amorphous form and he was still attached to the base, and then she was like, well, I'm just going to pull you and the base to the surface, and then once it gets to the surface, that's when he becomes a big full monster again. Water Bottle asks, hi Shonen, how many of the cadres could Carnage Kabuto beat, and how difficult will it be for each one he can defeat? So I'm thinking that he could probably take Fura Ugly, Gums, Homeless Emperor, Neon. Now, as for him taking Overgrown Rover, Goketsu, Elder Centipede, and Black S, Evil Natural Water, difficult to say, honestly. I mean, he would have to do something really crazy to be able to take care of Evil Natural Water, and for him to take down Elder Centipede, he would need to be... just as powerful, if not more powerful than, like, the combined efforts of Bang and Bomb. Now, is he that strong? Maybe, maybe not. Goketsu probably is more skilled than him. As for their power, it's debatable. I wish we just saw more of Carnage Kabuto against somebody else. I mean, aside from, us just hearing about his feat against Darkshine in the VGS, but that doesn't really fare well for him since he did lose after 15 minutes, but he did push Darkshine to his full power, so that's pretty good. Overgrown Rover, same thing with like Elder Centipede. He would need to have so much power that he could just overcome their durability, and I think he's probably fast enough to avoid Rover's blasts, but it's hard to say if he can really defeat him. And then Black S, I think he would probably have the least amount of success against him, considering that, he's going to keep multiplying and stuff. Then if he can become Golden S, I guarantee that Golden S is much stronger than Carnage Kabuto. So I think he would have good success against, Fura Ugly, Gums, Homeless Emperor, and Neon, but he would really struggle against Goketsu, Overgrown Rover, and Evil and Elder Centipede, and probably wouldn't have any success against Black S. The one above all patrons, Wolf Pup, asks, how strong is Golden S going into the manga? Stronger than his webcomic feats? Definitely. He is definitely going to be stronger than his webcomic feats, and I think we're going to get way more feats on him than what we do get in the webcomic. I always talking about it, how it's like muddy, how it's kind of clunky the way that Golden S is in the webcomic, and I wish he was a little more fleshed out, and I think we're definitely going to get that in the manga. So if we're going to try to compare him to something that has already been established, I think he'll probably be similar, at least in aesthetic feats, to what we saw of like Release Boros in chapter 36 in the beginning of it, somewhere around there. Not Meteoric Burst. Definitely not Meteoric Burst, but like, I'm not going to say he's like as strong as Release Boros. I'm saying that we're going to see stuff of him that was similar to him. So, I'm sure that he'll be like above Dragon definitively once we get to him in the manga. More or less somewhere around there. Cool Mitch 987 asks, hey Shonen, thanks for answering my question last week. But of course, I have another question about Blast. Regarding Fubuki's statement on Blast ruling over Esper powers, do you think it's more likely that he's more or less immune to Esper powers due to their strength like Saitama, or that he's actually a more powerful Esper than Tatsumaki in addition to having several other powers? I personally would love it if he had telekinetic Superman, and if you call into question how exactly Elder Centipede escaped from him. What do you think? Have an awesome week. Hey, you too, Cool Mitch. So I thought the first statement that you said, I thought this before we got more development on Esper powers and how Psychos was shooting lasers from his eyes and stuff like that. I thought that maybe his spirit, quote unquote, like what Fubuki talks about in the webcomic, I think like chapter 105 or somewhere around there. I thought that was the case, but no. I think that Blast definitely is an Esper. He definitely has Esper powers. Shooting lasers from his eyes. He can fly. He can do all of that stuff. And I think that is why he rules over espers. But also, please check out my new video, The Secret of Blast Powers, because we got an updated translation to what it says in the data book, like the Italian one, and it says that he has paranormal powers. It doesn't really say the whole thing about ruling over espers' powers and all stuff like that, and I think that's lining up with him definitely having, like, what you're saying, telekinetic Superman. I think that's what he is. Pretty much. But as for Elder Centipede escaping from him, I think we're going to get more info on that in the future of the story when we get more into Blast. We're definitely going to get a flashback, I think, and we're going to find out what truly happened, and I think it's probably going to raise Blast's stock. I don't think it's going to be really detrimental to his record. Maad Paw asks, a couple of things worth pointing out with the Bearded Worker and Tatsumaki, since when he asked about the Z-City investigation. First, surely Tatsumaki recognized Blast, right? I know that this crab works for Superman, but come on, I find it hard to believe that she'd be fooled by the beard and the hair since it's been years since she saw him. Second, I watched the Bearded Worker's reaction to Tatsumaki, absolutely terrified. He even goes into a cold sweat. To me, that shows fear, not just some act to keep up his cover. His relief when she finally calms down and also leaves seems genuine. I feel like this doesn't help the Bearded Worker Blast theory at all. What are your thoughts on this scene? So, please check out my video, Bearded Worker Rabbit Hole, in case you haven't yet, because I talk about this scene in that video, and it's more or less Tatsumaki does know that Blast is the Bearded Worker, and she's kind of just playing along with it. You know, being cheeky with him. And the Bearded Worker is kind of just concerned for Tatsumaki since he cares about her. Now, also, another thing that we really have to take into consideration here is that this scene is anime exclusive. It does not happen in the manga, so we need to take a whole bunch of grains of salt with this because it may or may not even matter ultimately to the plot. I do think that one probably had something to do with this scene since he was really hands-on with the first season, and I think that he was probably putting out there just to establish a relationship between Bearded Worker and Tatsumaki, so maybe we can come back to it, you know, later on in the story, you know, later on in the season whenever Blast comes back, especially during the anime, whenever that is going to be. But if you're going to try to discredit the Bearded Worker theory, don't look at anime exclusive stuff. Try to dig from the actual canon source, like the manga, webcomic stuff like this, because, you know, we can just look into this and we kind of draw any kind of conclusion we want from this, especially considering that, like I said, it just was made by the anime exclusively. Acoustic asks, hey man, just wondering what do you think will happen when McGregor fights Justin Gaethje? So it looks like this fight's actually going to happen in the summer, and that's going to be awesome, and I'm thinking that McGregor's going to run through him just like he ran through Cowboy. Probably not as fast, but it's definitely going to be like a high-paced fight on the feet, you know, back and forth in round one. And, you know, considering that Alvarez and Poirier were able to finish Gaethje, you know, he is pretty durable after all, but I think McGregor is definitely a better striker than him, and he'll probably just run through him the same way. It'll be like a round one finish for McGregor. TKO, maybe KO, and then that will set up McGregor facing the winner of Habib and Tony. Chance asks, hey Shonen, how would a battle go between the Cadres and the Espada from Bleach? You can add Orochi and Aizen if you think it will change the outcome. Thanks. So I'm thinking that the Cadres overall are probably more powerful than the Espada. Now, don't get me wrong, the Espada are very powerful, especially once you get towards the bottom of the numbers. Like Ukiura, he's ridiculous. His Sero, when he goes into his, I guess debatably you can call it his Vasto Lord form, ridiculously powerful. But, you know, if we're looking at all of the Cadres here, you know, we've got like Elder Centipede, Evil Natural Water, Black S, Yukiko Golden S, Overgrown Rover, Goketsu. It just seems like a little too much for the Espada at this point. Now, if we throw Aizen and Orochi in there, Aizen, of course, presents a whole different variable. Like, just his Shikai alone is ridiculous, especially like when we're comparing it to powers that don't really fit into that category the way that they are in One Punch Man. And then when he goes into his Ryukyo form, or Ryogyo, you know, when he becomes a big monster, when he absorbs the whole thing. It's difficult to say, but given that the feats of power of the Cadres seems to be a little more outrageous, I'd probably go with them, including Orochi. But it's difficult to say like how Aizen's powers would really match up with characters like this, because it goes into whole supernatural Soul Society stuff. So I'll just say that the Cadres probably take this one without taking Aizen into consideration. He's too difficult to really guess what would happen here, at least without like prior research. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I want to thank all 123 of my awesome patrons. Guys, I love you so much, and I can't thank you for all of your support that you continue to give me. And if you would like to be in next week's Q&A, just simply check out the Patreon. The $5 tier will give you access to this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.